And welcome to Let's Play Active Worlds. This is Mr. Joseph, and today I thought I would show you a little bit of something different from normal city building, which is what I usually do. Now, as you can see by the wall of pictures in the background, I'm alluding to some sort of Romulan spaceship type of design. And I've already been working on this, but I thought, you know, what a great opportunity to show how you would do a complex, you know, sort of dome or sphere type thing, as you can see in the bridge area here, which is very much under development. And I do want to explore the ship a little bit more and show you how I'm building that. But I'm going to show you how to do a sphere real quick as part of this video, just to kind of demonstrate how you would do that. And I've left the zone that I was in that kind of took down the lighting a little bit, so you can see a little bit better out here. Okay, so let's just pick up a random object and use that as our starting point. So grab this piece of land that was originally built in 2005, about 9 years ago, and we're going to change it to something we can see over the grass. We're going to do walk 001H. Alright. And I tell you what, we're going to do, I'm just going to make 4 of these so you can have, so we have a little base of operation here. Okay, so as I make these platforms, this gives us just gives us just a little bit of a sense of a reference point. And I'm going to make 2 more and maybe even do this a 9 kind of a thing, so at least we have a center to work around. Let's just do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the floor here and let's make this into a wall. So let's do, and I'm going to use PP panel construction on this dome, but, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Where'd it go? Oh, I didn't. One second. Let's do pp02.rwx. Okay. This should be easy enough to see now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just double these. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, you wouldn't want to necessarily stick to this PP panel design, because most of the domes and circular objects that you're going to be creating, you're going to want more realistic objects, but this is just for demonstration, as you can easily see on the screen. So if we take this and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll notice that the y-axis of this new object is now aligned with the very edge of the old object. It's as if the axis is occurring right at the edge of that other object. So that means you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they'll be completely perpendicular here. No space between them and no space where one sticks into the other. And if you really want to prove that, you can come over here and take a look on the back side. You'll see nothing sticking out, and in fact, if I change this to an 03 just to be clear, nothing sticking out that well. There might, I don't know if you can even see, yeah, there's just a micro thing, but that's not going to matter. This is the problem with working with panels, is that the system is not designed for the sort of precision, and if they're not 100% snapped to the grid, which is, you know, what I should have done. Let me just start this over. You might get a little bit of spacing issues because the system has just a couple of shortcomings. Can I snap this to the grid? I might not be able to snap all those to the grid. I thought there was a button that allowed you to snap things to the grid. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter. But anyway, let me repeat what I just did. Okay, so we'll do pp02.rwx. Now I'm going to go copy this and move it 4 over, which, because this is 8 clicks long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's how you'd make a straight wall. And again, there's a spacing issue that's part of because I'm not snapped to the grid necessarily. And I'm not really sure why I can't figure out how to snap it to the grid. Delete, undo, duplicate, back, move left. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. So I'm going to snap these to the grid real quick, just to see if that cleans up some of the spacing issues. Okay, so theoretically that's snapped to the grid now, but in any event it shouldn't matter because it doesn't have to be snapped to the grid. If you're using PP panels, you're going to have some, you know, situations where it's not 100% perfect. But anyway, by the way, if you do 4 over, the pattern on these is such that it's going to repeat. So now we have something that's 16 long, but we actually have a full second panel hidden in there. And so if I go like 1, 2, 3, 4, so you can't even tell, there's no Z buffering effect here. And now we've got this panel off to the side. But let me show you what you do. Let's say you want to make a curve. Well, as you know, 6 rotates is 90 degrees, right? And 6 more gives us 180 degrees, and so forth. So in other words, it's 24 clicks to make a circle, 12 clicks for half a circle, 6 clicks for a quarter of a circle, or 90 degrees. And so, you know, you can kind of do a little math on this. If 6 clicks equals 90 degrees, then each individual click is 15 degrees. So you can kind of calculate your slope. By the way, just for what it's worth, let me show you something else. Let me fly up here and look down. Each click is 15 degrees, but let me show you this. So there's the 15 degrees, right? And if you want to do less than that, let's say you want to do, well, let's just see. So I'm going to hold down Shift this time, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means each Shift click is 1/10 of 15 degrees, or 1.5 degrees a piece. So if I want to do 4.5, you know, 6 degrees, 7.5, 9 degrees, 10.5 degrees, and so forth, into all the way, you know, 12 degrees, 13.5, 15, and you can get whatever. I mean, if you want to do 5%, you can even do that, because let's see here. If I do Control Shift click, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think that's going to work out to be 100. So 1/100th of 15 is, and actually you can see on the, and I'm not sure if you can see this on Fraps, but the object dialog box tells me what my yaw y-axis right now is. And right now it says it's 100. And, okay, so as I move it, each time I do that, it changes it by 0.1 degrees. So it's pretty precise. And, you know, I'm going from 100 there, and it should take me down to about 90 to be perfectly aligned with that other one. And that's 105. So, you know, 103.5, 102, 100.5. This is our degrees, and it's, you know, the game will consider an object aligned at this angle that I'm approaching to be 0 degrees, which is should be the north and south or east and west axis, I can't remember, of the world. So there it is, 0 degrees. But, you know, I don't mean to get into a discussion of degrees. You can definitely do that yourself. But what we do want to do is we want to take this now, which has been rotated around the axis 1 click, or 15 degrees, and we're going to just slide it over now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see, they're perfectly aligned at the division point. And see, that's step number 1 that you're going to need to do for making a round dome of some sort. Let's do this over on the other side, and I'll just speed through this a little bit, and you'll understand that I'm basically just repeating what I just did, but going around in a bit of a circle. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 to move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rotate. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rotate. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rotate. 1, 2. Oops. Okay. 1. Rotate. 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. So, and by the way, you might want to just save the, make a note of the one that's on the 90-degree mark or whatever you want to call it. So let's do this. This is what I usually do. Create color 0. That's a black. That just lets us know what center is. And then let's see if we can make this 1, 2, 3, 4. Rotate. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, or maybe you can't see, the object dialog box confirms that this is now at 180 degrees. So we can go ahead and create color 0 on that one as well. So we have these perfectly, we have a square, sort of a, if you drew a line from here to here and here to here, it would be a 90 degree intersection. Okay, so let's just finish the other side real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, rotate, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can go ahead and create color black on this one. So now we've got a perfectly, we've got an approximated curve going 15 degrees per quantization. It's a quantized curve. It's each gradient is very distinct, but nonetheless it approximates the curve. And if you really want to check this out, you can just go like this and just dupe this guy and move him right down to here, and you'll see that it lines up perfectly, at least angle-wise, with this one here. It's not going to line up perfectly with regard to clicks. Okay, so here's our little curve. And that in and of itself is useful. You could easily make this into some sort of office space. You could put windows in. You could just put some, walls around this or whatever. And you could just, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this by just building it up one layer. Okay, you could do that. And that would be just fine, You could see that being, round curved windows is sort of a fancy office building or something, or maybe a silo for oil, or it could be a number of things. But if we want to make it into a dome or a spherical structure as opposed to a cylinder, well, then we need to go another step here. So let's curve them down. I'm going to do 2. As you can see, the rotational axis, the x-axis, is right here. It's at the bottom of the top one. And by the way, I'm pushing backslash to move these things down. Now, one thing about AW that is frustrating and that is a limitation of the program is that you can't click these objects and remove the overlapping small triangular thing here. But I can tell you that the more refined your curve is, the smaller this is going to be. And the reality is you don't even see it when it's part of the same texture. You only see it when you have these alternate textures. Okay, so we're going to click this down here as well. Okay, so now as you can see, you've got a bit of a slope now. And actually this, again, could be used for a building, a house, or whatever. It in and of itself is pretty cool, And you could even embellish this a little bit by, you can put in some walls or put in some beam. Let's put in some beams. So what you would do is you'd click your one that is on point here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and you might just go, let me let that populate real quick, and then let's do And I'll see if I can remember P1 REC 0100. I think that's it. .rwx is that? No. I have trouble remembering the P1 rec 00. Let's do 0050a.rwx. Let's see if that gives us something. Nope. P1 REC 0050.rwx. Let's just try that. God bless it. Okay, let me go look at what the one that I really need is. Hold on. Sorry, I can't remember the prems off the top of my head. Okay, it's gonna be... I don't know why that didn't... I thought P1 rec 0050D should have given me something, but whatever. Or A, I mean, it should have given me something. I'm gonna get rid of this color as well. Okay, so that gives us that. And let me just try. Maybe I typed it in wrong the first time. I just want to make sure I'm not going crazy here. A. Why is there a D but there's no A? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh well, whatever. This works. So you can put these guys in right here, and as you can see, they're perfectly aligned with this black one. And hell, you could even, if you really want to get fancy and you want to, let's say you got a door or something, you can go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you've got yourself a door frame. And let's do PD. Okay, and let's get rid of the color thing. Okay, so there, you've got yourself a nice door frame, and you could embellish that with textures, and it's just to show you how to do it. Chest 2, and oops, create texture chest 2, and let's let's make this create texture marb 1. Is marb 1 the right one? Marb, I think it's marb 2. Marb 2. Yeah, there we go. So we could just copy that over to the other parts of the door, and this could be your temple door frame, and you could change the textures on the rest of them. You could scale this just a hair. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could just scale 1.1 or something like that. Yeah, there we go. And you could even bring that down just a little bit. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you've got yourself a nice little door frame and a door, and you can make that into your building. Okay, so that's nice, but how do we make this into a dome? Well, there's a problem now, and this is where it gets a little complicated. Oh, and by the way, if you wanted to just make this into a kind of a scaffolding, you just rotate that 1 and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you just rotate it 1 every time you want it to move it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. You do that for the whole thing, and if you want, you could just do that for the whole thing. You can make these into windows, let's just do your classic PP16 window. That could be cool. But anyway, what happens when you try to build up here? Well, what happens is, you try to, let's say you push up. Well, it goes up here and it's not connected to that one in any way. Let's say you press over and left and right, and then let's say you do both. Okay, fine. Well, am I close? Well, I guess I'm in the neighborhood, but how do you make it aligned to that edge, which is what we did the first time? I mean, the first time it was easy because we could just move this guy straight up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we could just bend him right down on the same axis that we moved up from the first one. But this one, we're having trouble, right? So the question is, how do you get that to line up with your previous one? Because that's obviously the next step, right? Well, this is where we get a little complicated. Okay, so the first step is to duplicate the object, and then you have to do this thing where you take it back to up and down. Sorry, there's a dog outside barking. It's kind of annoying. Okay, then you have to go up one more, and you have to do this. Now, as you can see, we've created this angle here between this 3-tier plane and this guy. And guess what? When this rotates, for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why, it uses this second one as the angle of rotation. There's a bit of a problem here. I forgot to dupe the bottom one. So you got to duplicate this bottom one as well. But then what you do is you just lean this guy right down as a unit of 3. Okay, so and then you can delete that one, and you can delete that one if you want. And then you've got a perfectly aligned next level. Let me repeat that because it's complicated. Okay, so step 1, line it up perpendicular to the ground. Okay, and then you don't need the middle one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You only need the top one and the bottom one because it doesn't change the center of the unit group or the object group. Okay, so then you just lean that guy right into place there, and you can delete this extra one down there, and so forth. Now, you could keep doing this, and actually you could do it this way too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's just duplicate this guy down there and lean this guy down. Okay, now you could keep doing it this way if you want, and you could make this into like a big cone, or you could start taking these guys down too, because I did 2 down on the layer below, and you could do 2 there, and then you could do another one where you let's see here. And this next level is going to be even more complicated. 1, 2, 1, 2 to get it back to perpendicular. And then you could go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you just bring this guy down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you just lean this guy down into place by doing 4 clicks that time to get it to the same angle, because this is again 4 clicks from up and down. And then you could go all the way down to your 6th click. 1, 2, there. And then you've got yourself a nice flat angle. You could fill that in. You could put a, you could change the slope by, rather than doing 2 up there, you could do 1 and just gradiate that. Then you could do one where it's, say we're at 5 right now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The key is having this counterweight down here and this guy up here, which is going to go into place where it needs to go, and the angle, the axis of rotation being right here, which again, I'm not sure why it's not in the middle, but for some reason it's here. So that's why we do it this way. So we just lean this guy right down into place there with 5, and you could do maybe another layer with 5 here, or you could make this one flat, and that would be okay for a lot of things. Or you could do a half 15. So you could do shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're getting into really shallow curve here, and then we could do the next one flat. So we go, and this is where it gets complicated, but shift backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we do 5 regular ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll go ahead and just put one up there and drop this guy down 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and just lean this guy right down into place by doing 5 regular ones and then 5 shift ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This formula is beautiful. It works every time if you just keep doing it that way. And then this one could just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're at horizontal, and that's a pretty nice dome. And you could have it, you can see you can make it taller by doing a more gradual angle here, or you can make it shallower by doing more gradual angles all around. But in any event, this theoretically would somehow line up with these other ones once you did it for the whole thing. And then you'd have an area of intersection at the top where you could even leave an oculus if you wanted, which I've done on some buildings. Let me just show you, if I were to finish this sort of thing and take it to its logical conclusion, what you would end up with. I'm just going to go over here back to my starship now. And as you can see, what I've done is I started with one. I actually don't have any straight up and down ones. I've just got the bent angle ones. And so this is angle of 2 clicks or 30 degrees off of perpendicular. This is an angle of 60 degrees, and then this one is 75 there. You can kind of see the structure of what I've done. And then it intersects with a primitive object, a dome, which I've extended using the scale function, and it kind of looks like the top of a ship or something. And then down here, and this is where the angle gets kind of sharp, but that's kind of typical with the ship, right? And this is an angle of three clicks, or 45 degrees between up and down in this one. And then it goes to flat, I think, underneath that. So you can see it looks nice, and once I put some textures in, it's going to look real nice. I've also used walls and things, which I'm working on still here, you can see, and primitive rectangular objects. I've got this cylinder going around the outside, and once I put some textures on these, and then the last step is to clean up the Z buffering. You can always clean up a Z buffering by doing a shift control and a plus or a minus or whatever, just to make it slightly off from but I like to keep them in until the very end, because then everything's perfectly aligned, and you got to keep things perfectly aligned. So as you can see, I've been experimenting with windows and things, and some texturing, but I really am going to figure out the texturing once I get the main frame built. It's based on these pictures here, and especially these ones with the gold frames are kind of what I'm going for, and I was working on the wing structure back here. If you want to have an interior to your dome, you might want to think about that as you're building it. Here's the interior of mine, and as you can see, it's going to have a nice open feeling in here, and once I put some chairs and things, it's going to be really nice. So that is how you make curved objects. By the way, you don't have to just use PP objects. You can do this with virtually anything. You could use, hill sections. You could. I've seen that. You could use, you could use doors, you could use windows, you could use tiles, you could use rectangles. Let me just show you how this would work with with these guys here. It's the exact same maneuver. Just go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first layer is easy because it's already in place. And you just do, so let's see here, gotta find the right button. Home. Let's see, page. I think I did it right there. It's hard to see from that angle, but there we go. And then on this one, you would just straighten her out, and you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you would just duplicate this one for the first layer, and you would just bend it down 1, 2, and there you go. You've got, and actually that's kind of cool the way it is, but then you can, maybe I'll keep this one in place because it's kind of cool, and then just bend this guy down to that level, and you just repeat that. Now this what we're getting here, you can imagine if you're just using the prims alone, that wouldn't be there, right? Okay, so if you can kind of picture this without the panels between them, and then you could even build yourself a connector on each layer too, where you go, oops, 1, 2, and then you just bring this guy down the other direction, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, and you could do that for each layer, You would just, the key is you always have to bring it back to perpendicular. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we just bring this guy down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you might want to rotate it in place just to make it feel right. And that's not quite right. Let me try that one again. Actually, I think if I build it on this one, that's what I need to do. 3, 4. And just bring her down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And then I'll just rotate it using the page up. to be aligned there. It's not quite right, and that's, yeah, it becomes progressively harder to fit these in when you get up to the top because the space becomes smaller. You might have to use scale, but you can see how you would do that. You just have to be a little creative with it. But in order to get these basic ones in place, you would just use the same tactic, and if you didn't have these, let me just delete that one for example, you can understand how that could start to look real good after a minute. So that is how you do dome work and custom dome work. And this is very useful in a lot of contexts, and I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial. And thanks for watching, and just remember, my cat, Mr. Snuggle, Professor Snuggles, is looking out for you.